Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The bright studio lights of Live with Kelly and Mark dimmed just slightly that morning, almost as if they knew something monumental was about to happen. For years, Kelly Ripa had stood under those very lights, greeting millions of viewers with her radiant smile and infectious laugh. But on this particular day, her smile was trembling, her eyes swollen from tears, and her voice soft, fragile, like it was carrying the weight of 1,000 memories. The crowd sensed it immediately. There was a heaviness in the air that no amount of applause could mask. Kelly's hands were clasped together, her wedding ring catching the light as she tried to keep her composure. She took a shaky breath and began, "I shared my life with you all for so many years, but today, I have to share something I never thought I would." Behind the cameras, producers and crew members, people who had become her second family, stood in stunned silence. No one wanted to believe what they already feared. The news no one expected. For weeks, whispers had circulated online. Fans had noticed that Kelly seemed different, more subdued, her laughter tinged with sadness. And Mark Consuelos, her husband and co-host, had been conspicuously absent from several shows, with only vague explanations about medical reasons. Now, the truth was finally being spoken aloud. Kelly's voice cracked as she revealed that Mark had been rushed to the ICU days earlier after a sudden cardiac emergency. He's fighting," she said, tears streaming down her face. "And I know how strong he is, but seeing him like that, it breaks something inside of you." The audience gasped softly. Some began to cry. Kelly reached for the coffee mug that had become her morning ritual but couldn't bring herself to take a sip. Instead, she stared down at it, remembering how Mark used to tease her about the way she added too much cream. A love story tested by fate. Their love story had always seemed unshakable. From their first meeting on the set of All My Children in the 90s to building a family and co-hosting a national talk show together, it was the kind of romance Hollywood rarely gets right. They had faced rumors, separations, busy schedules, and the challenges of raising 3 children in the spotlight. Yet, no tabloid headline could ever capture the depth of their bond. They were partners in every sense, on screen, off screen, in laughter, in chaos, and now, in heartbreak. Kelly recalled the night it all happened. They were at home, the house quiet except for the faint hum of the city outside. Mark had been pacing the living room, restless but insisting he was fine. Then suddenly, his hand went to his chest, and he crumpled before her eyes. "I screamed his name," Kelly whispered, recalling the moment. "I thought he was joking at first, then I realized this was real." The paramedics arrived within minutes, but to Kelly, it felt like years. The sight of her husband, her rock, her soulmate, being lifted onto a stretcher under the blinding lights of an ambulance shattered her in ways she didn't know were possible. The ICU vigil. Since that night, Kelly had barely left the hospital. Between updates from doctors and moments by Mark's bedside, she had been living in a haze of fear and exhaustion. "He opened his eyes once," she shared through tears. "He couldn't speak, but he looked at me, and I knew what he was saying. 'Don't cry, Kel. I'll be fine.' He's always been the strong one." The ICU was a cold, sterile world, machines beeping, nurses whispering, the scent of antiseptic in the air. But Kelly made it warmer. She brought framed photos of their kids, played their favorite songs softly on her phone, and even joked to Mark about missing his morning coffee orders. "I told him he can't leave me alone with all this work," she said, forcing a weak smile through her tears. A nation holds its breath. When news of Mark's condition broke, social media exploded with an outpouring of love. Fans from around the world sent messages, prayers, and videos of support. Celebrities who had worked with the couple posted heartfelt tributes, calling them the heart of morning television. ABC issued a brief statement, confirming that Mark was in critical but stable condition and that Kelly would be taking some time off. The network stood by her completely, offering privacy and support. In living rooms across America, people who had grown up watching Kelly felt her pain as their own. They had seen her laugh, dance, cry, and raise her children. Now, seeing her broken yet still standing, it struck a deep chord. The farewell that broke millions. On that fateful broadcast, Kelly didn't announce a permanent goodbye, but there was something final in her tone. She spoke about gratitude, love, and the fragility of life. "If I've learned anything in these last few weeks," she said softly, "it's that nothing matters more than the people you love. Hold them close. Tell them every day how much they mean to you." Her co-host for the day, Ryan Seacrest, who had returned temporarily to support her, put a comforting arm around her. The two shared a long emotional silence as the audience stood in applause, many wiping away tears. Kelly then looked directly into the camera. "Mark, if you're watching this, I love you. You've given me everything, our family, our laughter, our home. You once told me you'd always be my partner in every storm, so please, fight your way back to me." The camera lingered on her face for a moment longer before fading to black. Hope amid heartbreak. Later that night, a soft update came from the hospital. Mark's condition was improving. He was responding to treatment and had shown signs of progress. Kelly, exhausted but relieved, shared a quiet message with fans on Instagram. "Thank you for your prayers. He's still with us, and that's all that matters right now." It was a glimmer of hope after weeks of darkness. The world exhaled collectively, sending waves of encouragement her way. As she left the hospital that night, bundled in a coat against the chilly New York air, Kelly paused to look up at the sky. The city lights blurred through her tears, but for the first time in weeks, she smiled, a real smile, the kind that carries both pain and faith. She knew the road ahead would be long, recovery would take time, but she also knew that love, real, relentless love, has a way of defying even the darkest odds. Kelly Ripa's tearful goodbye had not been a farewell forever. It was a moment of surrender, a reminder that even the strongest hearts can break, but they can also heal. And somewhere in a hospital room, as the monitors beeped steadily in the dark, Mark Consuelos stirred ever so slightly, his hand twitching just enough to find hers. The world might have been stunned, but for Kelly, that tiny movement was everything. It was hope. It was love. It was life finding its way back. A fragile miracle. The next morning, Kelly sat in the same ICU chair she had occupied for days, her fingers intertwined with Mark's. The rhythmic hum of machines felt almost musical now, each steady beep a small promise that he was still fighting. The early sunlight spilled through the blinds, brushing over Mark's face, pale but peaceful. When his eyelids fluttered open again, Kelly froze. It wasn't just a reflex this time, it was awareness. His eyes, those deep brown eyes that had seen every corner of her soul, focused on her. Slowly, painfully, Mark squeezed her hand. Tears spilled freely down her cheeks as she whispered, "You came back to me." He couldn't speak, but his lips curved slightly, forming a familiar smirk, the same one that had charmed her on a soap opera set 3 decades ago. It was weak, but it was real. Kelly laughed through her tears, pressing her forehead against his hand. "You don't get to scare me like that again," she whispered. "Ever." Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa. We are the first to publish all the information about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, so stay with us to get all the latest updates. And stay tuned to our USA Daily Drop for all updates.